Hey, business building warrior, welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. Thanks for joining me for our weekend edition. If you're new around here, our weekend edition is simply when we go back in time to a successful student interview, one of our proven Amazon course students who's building a beautiful business, and we break down some of the best lessons and best moments from that interview. Because if you're like me, Saturday is the sixth day of the week, meaning, hey, it's another work day. Some of us work 6, rest 1. That's what God did when he created everything. So a lot of us follow that same model. I know I do. And Saturdays are quite often a day where you can grow your business, continue working on your business. And if that's you, we want you to take along our weekend updates. Well, today's episode is going to be one, like I said, where we interview a recently successful student. Maybe it's an episode that you missed and that sort of thing. We'll get to in just a moment. Thanks for the feedback, by the way. If you've been listening to our weekend updates, we really appreciate that. But we've got some big news. Here we are kicking off summer of 2023 as I'm recording this. And we've just launched a great new product that I want to tell you about. You can go to Proven Bot Sourcing and see all about it, as well as you can listen to the recent podcast episode where we really dove in and discussed this. It was podcast episode number 647, located not too far back in time before this episode that you're listening to now. Provenbotsourcing.com is a new strategy for scraping virtually any retail website and finding potentially incredible replan inventory to help you in your Amazon business. We've really broken it down. It's brand new content, stuff that's never been taught anywhere before. Yeah, there's some tools you might recognize in the mix, but there's a lot of new elements. I don't care how deep you've dug into replans, you have not seen the details that we've uncovered before. It took us months to test this. So go check it out at provenbotsourcing.com. That's the only announcement I'm going to drop on you for now, except one last little tiny mention. Our conference is coming up July 6th through 8th. Plan on being there. Theprovenconference.com has all details. VIP tickets are almost sold out. We're expecting about 600 plus people to descend on Columbus, Ohio, July 6th through 8th. That's listeners to this podcast. We'd love to have you there. We've got over 40 breakout sessions with the great coaches and success stories from our podcast. You're going to absolutely love it. If you can't be there in person, check out the live stream option. Very inexpensive. It gets you all of the event recordings as well as live interaction during the event with everyone who's there. Very inexpensive. Go check it out. Theprovenconference.com. We'd love to see you join us. Hey, let's enjoy today's weekend update. Here we go. Well, talk me through how you find products. How are you running your business right now?
So I have a VA that sources for me, but I still do sourcing myself. I do a lot of manual sourcing. Get online, get on Amazon. If I think of something like a category or a brand, or if I see something in the store and I'm like, oh, I've never seen that before, or that looks kind of cool, I'll go look it up. Look on Amazon, see if it's being sold by FBA or FBM sellers, and then see if I can find it somewhere cheaper, somewhere that's profitable. And then my VA does a lot of sourcing for me as well, because I can't source all the time myself, to keep up with the business.
Right.
But I do manual sourcing myself with mainly Amazon. I have done the Keepa product lookup before. So I've used that a little bit, but I'm not super confident in that. I'm not really good at it yet. So I just do a lot of manual sourcing. And then sometimes when I am in the store, I will scan items. It's very rarely because I prefer to be on the computer. But I do still source in the store sometimes.
Sure. Yeah, it's hard to move away from that. I love it. I think that's some pretty low-hanging fruit. People who are willing to go to a store and either take store shelf pictures or just do some research, right there. Many people like just standing there in the aisle, finding replans in one aisle, standing there for a couple hours in some cases and just finding a whole bunch of new replans right there in front of you. But most people prefer to do it from home.
I just feel like I have more data at home. Like I can see the whole picture better.
Sure.
Because it's easy to use Keepa on the computer for sure than on my phone. I can look at the sellers a lot easier. I can look at everything a lot easier on the computer. But you do get more ideas about things to sell in the store because everything is right there where you can see it.
Right. And you're going to have your inventory because it's right there on the shelf in front of you.
Exactly. And if I'm stuck on what do I look up to see if it's profitable? If I go to the store, I can see 1,000 things right in front of me. Oh, let's look this up and this up and this up.
Yep.
So
And the pricing is right there. Yeah. So there's benefits to both.
yep. I'd say I do more online. I do order things online and go pick it up in the store, or I will source online and then go buy things in the store if I can't get them like online. So I'll easily source online and be like, oh, I need to buy this at Walmart or wherever. But I do a little bit of both. More online though.
Gotcha. Good for you.
Have more inventory moving.
Yeah. And for those who don't know what Alyssa's talking about, go to prepcenternetwork.com. We've got a list. I'll stick it in the show notes as well. Prepcenternetwork.com. It's a free list we provide of all the prep centers who will take your inventory off your hands, get it ready for Amazon, slap your labels on it, that sort of thing. Really frees up your time. It's $10, $12 an hour work that you can hire someone to do locally. You could use a local neighbor or friend, that kind of thing, or you can use one of the prep centers in our prep center network, especially if you're shopping online. You can just have all that stuff sent there instead of sent to your front porch. It costs you between $1 or $2, approximately, more to prep the items. So you have to factor that in, but it frees up your time so dramatically that you can spend time finding those higher net profit ASINs and spend less time touching box tape, which again is, pretty minimum skill level work. So yeah, great plan.
And then I live in a sales tax state. So if I can find a prep center in a tax-free state,
sure,
there's even more benefit to it.
Yeah,
so
you're not paying sales taxes on your purchases as they come to your house.
I've done the math, and if I spend over $20, the sales tax would cost the same as the prep center.
Right.
So it's kind of a wash.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Although I always feel obligated to mention that those sales taxes you're paying to have stuff shipped to your house, because it's a business and it's being resold, that's all reimbursable back to you if you fill out the proper paperwork. But that's just more paperwork and more work you got to do, more things you got to track.
Yeah, I looked into that. I live in Florida.
Yeah.
And I've been told that it's really, really hard to recoup that sales tax from our state. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Yeah. I've talked to a couple local people and they said that they tried and they never got anything. So I don't know how successful it is.
It can be tricky depending on where you live and which, what laws you've got working against you. But any good accountant will tell you that if you're paying sales taxes on products that you're reselling, you don't actually owe taxes on those. That can be credited back to you. Now, what hoops you have to jump through to make that happen, it can be tricky. But certainly just using a tax-free prep center eliminates that as an issue because you're not paying any sales tax.
Right? Exactly. And I have tax exempt and I use that where I can.
Right. But not all websites are going to accept it. And some websites, if you tell them you're tax exempt reseller, they won't fulfill your order. So
I know.
Yeah, exactly. This is a long-term trajectory game. I think we tend to get down, and I still do this. I've been doing this 20 years, and I still do this. A slow day, sales-wise, even though I've got multiple streams of income going on and different things, if it all adds up to a lower number than what I really like to see in a day, I struggle. It affects my mood. I don't like that about me, but it does. And on the days where I hit a little higher than what I was thinking I might that day, I celebrate a little more than I probably should. You should be looking at this over a trajectory vantage point, though. Where were you in October? Where are you now that it's February? What do those points along the graph look like? Where are you heading? That's way more important, but we tend not to spend as much time looking at that. But if I look at the trajectory of what you're building, Alyssa, $50,000 months are going to be common here within a few months. But that's where you're heading.
I feel like it's that instant gratification where it's we want sales now. So looking at big picture isn't as comforting, I think, as oh yeah, I had a $2,000 sale day or whatever. But I mean, the one good thing about Amazon is if I'm having a slow day today or a slow week, I know I can just step up my game and send in more products and boost it. It's not I can fix it tomorrow always. Mm-hmm. I can always add more. Mm-hmm. So it's not I'm stuck at these low sales. I can work a little harder, send a few more things in. And the sales are slow and it's my fault they're slow. It's not because people aren't buying it. It's because I didn't have any inventory. Yeah. So it was totally my fault. And I know
that explains your slower December. Maybe you didn't send as much in or, because December is a very distracting month too.
It is. It's very distracting. And I was doing a lot of other things. I was Christmas shopping for the kids. I was dealing with
holiday parties and wrapping presents and
exactly.
Your business takes a back seat. But I love that this is a business model that your January was stronger than your December. Most people think, well, Q4, that's when all the good stuff happens. Well, no, not when you're selling boring replens. January, quite often for many of us, is a stronger month than December was. It happens all the time to replen sellers. The stability of it is one of the more appealing factors, I guess.
Yes, because selling seasonal items, it's all fun and games during the season, but you can't keep doing that every month.
Right.
So the replens is where the growth and the stability can definitely come from. It's great to throw in those seasonal things, but you can't I feel like just focusing on them, you're shorting yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're exactly right. Talk me through how you find good inventory, how you determine what's good, what you're going to sell, what type of items are you selling without giving away any of your best ASINs, of course. Just talk us through some of your strategy there.
So I sell anything and everything that I can usually get a hold of and make money off of. It's usually everyday items, like everyday stuff, grocery, pet stuff, health and beauty. I started dabbling in clothing and stuff. And I think November, I started ungating some stuff. So that I'm still slowly going into that because I know there's a lot more returns in those categories. So I'm slowly trying to test the waters in clothing and that kind of stuff. But I've been selling a lot of grocery, pet foods, health and beauty, stuff like that. Like I said, I start on Amazon and I find things that are being sold by FBA or FBM sellers because I don't want to sell anything that Amazon is selling because usually there's no profit in it and they're going to give themselves the sale. So I go on, I look, and I'm like, okay, this thing looks like it's priced kind of high. It's only got FBA or FBM sellers. Somebody's buying it somewhere and making a profit. So then I just start Googling it. I'll copy the Amazon name, throw it in Google and see where I can find it. And that's the good thing about OA. If I put it in Google, every single store that sells that item is going to pop up with their price. So it'll pop up Walmart, Target, wherever else, any local stores around me. And then I use RevSeller and I just put the price into RevSeller and see if it's profitable. I typically want my numbers. I like $5 or higher. If I can make 100% ROI on something that's $3 or $4 and it's easy, I will sell it. If it's a small, easy, no prep item, just slap a sticker on it. And then I like 30% ROI or higher. So I don't want to buy something for $40. It's going to make me $3. I'm looking for higher, profits. And then I would like low sellers. That's the goal for everybody. 15 sales a month is my minimum that I would like to get. Unless it's a killer clearance item that's going to make a whole lot of money, I will probably take it. But for replens, I would like to be able to sell at least 15 a month.
So you want to sell 15 a month. You're not talking about 15 drops a month on Keepa.
No. I will look at the Keepa and then the sellers and kind of determine, can I sell this thing 1 or 2 times or can I sell it every other day? Mm-hmm. And if I can sell 1 a day or 1 every other day, it's something that I will, go pick up. I always test. I buy 3, 4, 5 of them, send them in and test it first because Keepa can look great and then the thing won't sell because someone's stealing the buy box, or Keepa won't look good at all and I'll send something in and sell them all on the first day. So it kind of gives me that real world data that I need to know, do I want to send more? And then I'm not risking a whole lot of money either.
Yeah. It sounds like you've really dialed this in. You're doing a great job. How many ASINs do you have? How many replan ASINs do you have at this point?
Probably anywhere from 40 to 50 right now.
That you're selling against. Yeah, you've been kind of picky. Because for me, for example, if I can sell a couple a month, I'm happy. But you're saying you want to sell about 15 a month.
Yeah, I would like 15. If it's a really good item, so if it's an item that costs me $10 and I can make 20 off it and sell 3, I probably will. Mm-hmm. Because it's a high return. But I don't want to send something in and have it sit for 2 or 3 months in the warehouse and then not make my money back because I want to roll my money as fast as I can.
Yep.
So if my money's sitting in my account or my inventory is just sitting in Amazon, it's not making me money.
Yeah. The velocity of your inventory is a big deal. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, so I've gotten a little pickier over time.
Sure.
But if I can buy something for $2 or $3 and make 100% return and it's easy prep, I will buy it and send it in.
Yeah. Sell it for $11, $12 and after all expenses. Yeah. Very good. Do you do any small and light?
I do. I have a couple items that are small and light. And that's one of my items. I buy it for like $2 and I make $3 off it. And it no prep, small and light. I send it in. It's easy. That is one of my refunds. And I probably sell 20 a month. I mean, it's an easy item. So why not? It's one of those things like, why not sell it?
Yeah. That's 40, $50 a month in the bank. Easy enough to source it.
It's light. Yep. I just throw it in the boxes, everything else, and it doesn't even weigh anything hardly. Yeah. So it's essentially just an extra, throw it in the box and send it and make money off it.
Great job. I know nurses are some of the hard, and teachers too. It's like you pick two of the hardest working, high capacity required for patience and skill. And what's the other word I'm looking for? Just the ability to stick with it, grit, and fairly low pay, all things considered. That's what you used to do. So contrast those worlds for me.
That's why Amazon's like a cakewalk, because like I'm used to that. I think so. I went to nursing school really young. I was 19. I graduated high school and I started college because I wanted to go to nursing school. So I started nursing school right after I did all my prereqs, went to nursing school, and I started my nursing career at 21. I was like the youngest one in my graduating class for nursing school. I was probably the youngest nurse, and I don't know how many facilities I worked in. I worked in all different kinds of settings, and some were better than others. They were all overworked and treated like you're not treated for your value. And then you put all your time and effort and care into your patients, and then your management just like walks all over you. So I went into nursing management because I wanted to like be a better manager than what I had. And I think that's really where the burnout came from in nursing. I went into management. I was on call 24/7. If someone called out, I had to go in. I was like responsible for everybody and the entire facility. So at that point, like 2 or 3 years in there, I was like, I don't want it, because it was just controlling my life. I couldn't go on vacation. I couldn't leave town. I missed so many ball games. I had to leave work and come home because my son was sick and they wouldn't let me go to the hospital with him when he was 1. I had to go back to work. My boss was like, oh, he'll be fine. And it's like, no, it's not, oh, he'll be fine. My 1-year-old has 105 fever. I would like to be there. So like, those are all like things that I tried to get away from when I left nursing and I went to teaching, because I was like, at least I'll be home at night. At least I'll be home on holidays. I won't have to work another Christmas morning. I can't tell you how many Christmas mornings I worked, how many birthdays, Thanksgivings. Nursing is a 24/7 thing. It's depending on where you work. If you work night shift, you might be home for Christmas, but you're not going to be like alive and functioning because you worked all night the night before. Those are all like things that I tried to get away from when I left nursing and I went to teaching, because I was like, at least I'll be home at night. At least I'll be home on holidays. I won't have to work another Christmas morning. I can't tell you how many Christmas mornings I worked, how many birthdays, Thanksgivings. Nursing is a 24/7 thing. It's depending on where you work. If you work night shift, you might be home for Christmas, but you're not going to be like alive and functioning because you worked all night the night before.
Yeah, that's when you're normally asleep Christmas morning.
Exactly.
Go to bedtime.
Exactly. And the night shift was okay when the kids were little, but as I got older and got into activities and stuff, I wanted to be home at night when they had practice and games and take them places and do things like that. So I left nursing for the more flexibility. Teaching did offer a lot more stable schedule, I guess. I was at least awake during the day. I was home on the weekends. I was never going to work another holiday. I knew for a fact I would never work Christmas if I went to teacher, ever. So that was like a big step for me. And then I've always wanted to be like an independent person, like have my own money, make my own money, rely on myself for money, not a job. But I went to school for something that you can't do that in.
Right.
You can't work independently as a nurse. And then I had a bachelor's degree in science. So like, I didn't know what I could do for myself with that. Like what kind of business can I open with a bachelor's degree in science and a degree in nursing? Like, what am I going to do with those? So, there's other people that have businesses where they're a mechanic or they're a welder or whatever. Those are skills that you can take out of the workplace and make your own job. Right. So I never like had a skill like that. But I always was looking for, what can I do? Like, how can I do this? How can I do this on my own? Because I don't want to work for anybody. Yeah. So Amazon was it was kind of like, let me try it and see if it works. And it did.
Yeah. So, man, I love it. This stories like yours, Alyssa, are exactly why I got into teaching other people what I'd figured out. It's like I had stumbled across this magic formula that nobody was talking about. It was almost frustrating for me because I knew there had to be other people out there like me who wanted to take care of their family and have flexibility of lifestyle and make good money, but not be a slave to the schedule that someone else was putting on them without having to go spend $200,000 to open up a franchise or something, right?
Yeah.
Like there had to be another way. And when I finally found that and got into e-commerce and these things started happening, and then when we discovered replens and this model, that I honestly believe if you give me anybody who's got a bit of work ethic and they can get through that period of intense focused effort, I mean, it took you a few months. And I'm sure you had all the questions that the rest of everyone else who goes through this has. But once you get through that, there's nothing that compares to what you're building here. And you even mentioned earlier, like, some of these skill-based businesses you could have built, like if you're a mechanic or you're a construction or whatever. Well, you're kind of tied to your skill. You've got to get up and go to work to make money. You've got to put in the time. With this, over time, you really can just hand it off to somebody else fairly easily. And it doesn't require local talent. It doesn't require you to have a physical store location or to buy trucks or to have all this equipment. It's truly streamlined in so many ways. It's such a beautiful opportunity. I think you've illustrated it. I appreciate you contrasting it to the nursing, the teaching, the other things you were thinking about doing. And one of the pushback, some of the pushback I get sometimes to listen, I wouldn't mind hearing you talk about this for a moment, perhaps, is, well, I'm just not passionate about selling random items to random people. I want to do something I'm passionate about. And my argument there is take a year and be like Alyssa. Build a beautiful business. Get it to $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 a month in sales. Turn it over to somebody else. Now you've got a free 60 hours a week that you didn't have before, and you can go do 5 or 10 of your passionate pet projects, right? 18th century poetry or whatever it is that you want to do. Hey, now you've got the financial support to make those things happen. So does any of that bring any thoughts to mind as I say it? Or
Yeah, like I did the exact same thing. My mom is an example. She wanted me to teach her how to do it. And I'm like, okay, I'll teach you because I can teach her. My mom's a nurse. She's smart. She can understand it. I know she'll pick up on it. And then she's like, well, I don't know if I want to pack items for the rest of my life. And I'm like, this is not a rest of my life thing. This is like a year or two. And then I'm moving on to the next thing. Well, this works for itself.
yes.
Like it's this, I'm not going to be packing items forever.
No.
But if I pack them now, it's probably going to pay me forever. So it's like one of those things where that's not the end. The end result is not packing items every day for Amazon for the rest of my life. The end result is to build a self-sustaining business where I can, focus my time on other new streams of income, or maybe even get into like private label while my replens is running itself, work on private label or wholesale or something else. It's not every day I'm going to pack for the rest of my life. So it's not being passionate about selling things on Amazon. It's more so about being passionate about being financially independent.
Right. Being there Christmas morning and awake and alive for your kids on those special days. And when a kid is sick, you're there and they walk to the next room when they need mom. They don't wait 3 hours for her to, get a break at work. Exactly. I mean, that's really what you've built. And there's the benefits that come with this model.
It has completely changed my thoughts about work. My goal is to never, ever work for anybody ever again. And I want to teach my kids the same thing.
Yes.
I have my little brother just moved down here and he just graduated high school and he's exploring trades. And I've even had to talk with him, pick a trade that you can go off and make your own business with one day. So you don't have to work for somebody for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Like, do something where you can be independent. And my kids, the same thing. My daughter sits down with me and she knows how to read Keepa. And she's almost 9. And she's like, oh, that one looks like it's selling good. I'm like, it is. She understands.
That's awesome.
So they ask questions and I show them. And when they're a little bit older, I'm sure I'll be paying them to work, because might as well use them if they're here and want money.
Yes. All of my kids did. And they've all got that entrepreneurial spirit. They all look at a job. My kids, we've got 5 kids, and they look at a job as deciding to have one customer because you've got a paycheck, right? And that your customer is the person signing that paycheck. That's your one customer. They'd rather have a bunch of customers.
Yep.
right? Why not? That's called having your own business. Instead of having one customer, why not have 1,000 customers and work from home instead of where your one customer tells you to work?
Yeah, and this just opens doors. Like Amazon opens doors. If I can make money on Amazon doing this, it's not hard. It just takes motivation and drive. Like it's not a hard concept to learn. You just have to do it and be willing to learn it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like a big thing. People give up before they actually learn and understand it and get over those hurdles, because I did have hurdles. I made bad buys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were time frames when I had no money to buy inventory because it takes Amazon forever to give a payout, things like that. But if you just wait and get past those hurdles and just learn from your bad buys, you will figure out what not to do and what to do the right way.
Yep.
It's one of those trial and error things to an extent, and then watch videos, take courses, learn from other people who have already been there and made those mistakes is like how I feel. All these people on YouTube, even like I watch Jimmy's videos a lot. There's so much information in there that he saves me from making those mistakes, because he's like, hey, don't do this.
Yeah.
Or hey, do it this way.
Yeah.
So,
that's one of the definitions of wisdom, is learning from mistakes that other people made instead of making them yourself.
Exactly.
And our opportunities in our group to do that are abundant, because no matter where you are in your business, there's 500 people that are a mile ahead of you saying, hey, when you get to this point, this is what it's going to look like. Here's what you need to bring. Here's the potholes to look out for. But this is really mapped out so well because of the size of our community, and the sheer size of this opportunity means it's a blue ocean. There's plenty of room. We have an abundance mindset, yes, but the reality is this is such an expansive opportunity that there's millions of underserved ASINs on Amazon right now as we're speaking. There's no way we could ever fill the shelves. There's a bunch of products, there are ASINs on Amazon right now that there's zero inventory for them, but they're sitting on Walmart shelves all over the country, but there's zero inventory at Amazon. And it's stuff that if somebody would just ship it in,
it would
sell at a profit. Those listings are everywhere. So whatever the opposite of saturated is, that's what we are. It's like the opportunity is expanding faster than people are shopping online and relying on Amazon faster than there are third-party resellers who have the skill set to meet the demand.